I remember Laura Frya's video about the Xbox Ally X, and she said, what would basically make her buy this device? Xbox doesn't have exclusives anymore. And a lot of PlayStation fanboys latched onto that video because for some strange reason, it seemed to fulfill some fantasy that they have. But one thing I've noticed is the hyper PlayStation fanboy is very adept at compartmentalizing. They can create a fake argument and box that argument in and insert the chip into their brain, right? And not allow for any other facts to inconvenience that software that's running. Let me tell you exactly what I mean, because when she made that comment, as people ran with it, yeah, we're playing Xbox games on PlayStation, many of those PlayStations compartmentalized that argument and ignored the fact that the PlayStation games themselves were also playable on PC. Hence, their games weren't exclusive and had no special aspect to them if anybody in the market was actually paying attention. This comment from an audience member also kind of exposes something very interesting that a lot of folk don't want to admit. The content creators that make videos on the console market and all of the above, I don't really know what the makeup of the demographics is. When I covered Tom Clancy's The Division, I knew a lot of the content creators on a, casual basis, in some cases on a personal basis, where we actually, discussed issues and we spoke long term or we introduced ourselves. And majority of those gentlemen and ladies were family people. They had kids of diverse ages, different age ranges. When I play the game, a lot of the folk that I play the game with also have children of different age groups and such. So it's actually very easy to gather player demographics because as these people are gamers, their children also, are gamers. It happens. Most gamers will let their kids play games of different kinds. And so we can usually tell what kinds of games kids are playing. So when this user wrote and said, my kids, which consist of Gen Z down to Gen Alpha, echo the gaming habits we've been seeing. My 19-year-old plays mostly multiplayer time suck games. He was on PlayStation for a while until he built himself a PC, only to still play mostly multiplayer games. My younger kids, 10, 8, and 6, play a lot of Minecraft. One plays Fortnite, some free-to-play animal game I can't remember the name of, a few Nintendo games, both old and new, and they don't care what box, I have all of them, that can access them on. Their dad, however, me, plays just about everything minus the black hole games, save for COD. These kids like what they like, with platform exclusivity meaning absolutely nothing. I spend most of my time on Xbox because of what platform capability affords me. Game Pass, the whole family can use, play anywhere, easy cloud saves, as I have multiple Xbox consoles. All this to say exclusivity is a thing of the bust. Access is what's important, and that's what is going to matter for the newer generation. So let me go ahead and put a challenge out there. Every PlayStation exclusivist, every Xbox exclusivist, what games are your children playing? You don't have to answer. Don't worry. It's a rhetorical question. But it's an answer that's going to expose your premise. Because if you really do think, and no offense, that the gaming industry is actually one that's centered around your play preferences, then you've been sleeping. You probably need to wake up to the new millennia because, again, the behavior of the younger people, the younger audience coming up, is one that I think has basically been tapped into by these big companies. A lot of people may not necessarily think or actually believe it, but these companies do extensive research on demographics way before those demographics actually transition to other faces and facets of their lives. And with these demographics and these kinds of research that actually research pieces that are actually carried out, they can actually position themselves to ensure that they can profit from these demographics. Think about brands like Lululemon. There is not a young girl in sight within a specific age demographics that is not now, in a sense, understanding that if they're going to buy a specific layer of apparel, that brand Lululemon is going to pretty much be in their catalog. Do you understand? And Lululemon was started by a guy. That is insane marketing that has been done to pretty much make a multi-generational product line available for, the youngins that are coming up. In the case of Nintendo, in the case of all of these, you have to look at also how busy the generations were, and they gave their children access to all these other games, and then the time suck games were presented in the most in quote, innocent ways to these kids. Like, oh, look at this game that just has harmless graphics, right? And the parents were like, sure. Not knowing that they were basically introducing their kids to Minecraft. And now guess what? The kids aren't really interested in playing anything else other than Minecraft. And then Minecraft basically becomes one of the top selling games on PlayStation ever. So as many of these kids are going to pick up a PlayStation or whatever device, they can just play Minecraft. They can just play whatever game they want. In unit sales, it's the second highest sold game on PlayStation. A lot of PlayStation players are so funny. I remember that 45% of new PlayStation gamers just activated a PS account for the very first time. And a lot of these PlayStation folk ran around with it and were saying, oh, it's probably Xbox gamers. Oh, it's probably PC gamers. Not realizing that a good amount of them are probably children whose parents bought them a PlayStation and they play Minecraft on it. And I was looking at them actually make that data set. Now, I never made any conclusions. I was like, it could be anybody. But knowing that demographics and the way they actually resonate with games, I was like, it's not going to shock me that there is a huge portion of that particular demographic that is actually playing Minecraft on these consoles. And what are we seeing here? Look at it. It's the second highest game in units sold. So to talk about exclusivity and all of these other things, to me, are just a barrage of nonsense. The data can't support a lot of this, so it seems like everybody's got to go to the fringes. A lot of the talking heads, a lot of the content creators who have children or young kids, or at least adult kids, young adult kids, who are in these positions to play these games, who are playing the same games under their nose while they go ahead and sit in front of a mic and a camera and tell everybody otherwise. It's got to be the highest form of mental dissociation that I've ever seen. Because the thing is right there in front of you and you can absolutely study it. Right? But instead, you come out and you say all these things and you think somewhere, somehow, you can manipulate or maybe tweak reality or maybe continue to keep the old guard in play. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. This data set has bludgeoned all of that mindset into oblivion. That's it. Your young children are playing Minecraft. And if Fortnite had sales figures, it would probably be on this list too. So tell me again how it was PC gamers, the 45%, which I'm going to try my best to make a dedicated video on this because this is going to be so funny to actually see, this particular paradigm actually be put in perspective. But thank you for watching the video. Talk to me in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Peace out.